Good morning and welcome to another full day here on the ranch. We got to feed animals, check calves. We've reached a big milestone there, and whatever else happens to come up today, which I'm sure is going to be something. That's what's going on today on Farmertylerranch. First thing that needs to get done is I need to get the pigs fed, and this morning I've got in my bucket here some soybean meal and some Redmond mineral mix. Once I get those two things in the bucket, I can pretty much add whatever else I want, and I know that they're getting the things that they really need. As you may notice, we've still got the pigs here in the little pen, and I think that's another thing that I need to get done today, or at least by this weekend, is get them turned out into the bigger part of this pen. They're definitely big enough now, and we've got enough grass stocked up for them to have something to chew on and play in. So I think we're going to put that on the list for today as well. That's it for here at the house. Let's head down to the ranch. I think this morning I'm gonna skip filming feeding cows just because it seems like it has been in like the last 2 or 3 videos and it's really all the same. Nothing is changing there. And I just don't know how many times you guys want to see that. I feel like we are at capacity for that. If this is your first time viewing any videos from me, or you're new to the channel and you want to see how I do that this time of year, just go check out the last video or the one before that. I'm almost certain there's me feeding cows in those videos. What I will do, however, though, is once the hay is out in the field and the cows are eating, that's a great time to count calves, check cows, and make sure that everybody's looking good. I think I know how many calves should be out there, but I have to check every morning because you never know. We could have had a new one last night. Here at the home ranch, we have a total of 14 calves on the ground, which means that we have had 13 cows give birth. That includes our set of twins. And that means that of the 16 cows and heifers that are here that are due to calve, we only have 3 more to go. This is awesome because according to the calendar, we should only be about 2 weeks into what an expected calving season would be. Standing behind me here in this trio of solid black cows eating is number 45. She is one of the last 3 that I'm waiting on here at the home ranch. Let's see if we can get a closer look at her and maybe gather some idea of when and if she might have a calf. As I look behind her, I can see that she's pooched out a little bit on the side, which would indicate to me that she is most likely bred. And then couple that with the fact that when I look at her bag here, it's not gigantic, but it looks to me like things are starting to happen. Now also in this group, as I was talking, rolled in number 44, and she's kind of the same deal. She's part of that last 3 that I'm waiting on. The only difference with her is that I remember last year she was pretty late calving. So she would have been at a double disadvantage trying to cycle up to get on time with the rest of these girls. I think she'll still have her calf in a timely manner, but I don't really expect it to come out of her very soon. The last cow that I'm waiting on to calve here at the ranch is actually not a cow at all. She's a first calf heifer, and that is number 60 right here behind me. She's not making any bag yet or anything, but I think that looking at her, I can see that she's very round now, and so I'm confident that she's bred. It's just a matter of time. Well, I think that's about all there is to see out here in the field. We've found our 14 calves. I've looked over the 3 remaining cows that are left to have calves, and I don't think anything's gonna happen real soon. I still need to drop some Redmond salt blocks out here for them. I gotta feed the bull, and then we're gonna have to run up to the winter pasture and see how everybody's doing up there. I'm sure June can't come soon enough for that old boy. Get in. Good girl. Well, we got a lone cow eating all by herself out here. That pretty much definitely means she has a new calf. Let's go see if we can find it. When you got a cow and you know that she has a new calf somewhere but you can't find it, a lot of times if you pay attention to her little subtle cues, she will direct you right to that calf, and probably not on purpose. Usually new mothers will look at one of two things. They look at me because she may identify me as a possible threat to her new baby, and then she will quickly look away to where her new calf is laying to make sure that it's safe. So if I kind of pay attention to where she is paying attention to, a lot of times she will lead me right to her new calf. Are you driving? Are you driving? Counting the new calf that we just saw, we should have 9 in total over here. But there are quite a few of these cows that are getting really close, and it wouldn't surprise me if we did have another new one last night. Well, this almost never happens, but my first count, I got all 20 cows, so I guess it's good that I found them all, but kind of bad in a way too, because that means that nobody is off somewhere having a calf. What I've noticed out here at the winter pasture especially is that as the cows begin to have their calves, they sort of start to break off into 2 different herds. And the 2 herds are defined by who is a new mother and who is not. All these cows that have new calves seem to hang out together, and oftentimes they will be clear at the other end of this ranch, while the cows that haven't had their calves yet are off in their own part of the ranch doing their own thing. It's really funny to me because it really mirrors human society in a way. It's like once you start having kids, you just hang out with other people that have kids. And if you don't have kids, you mostly just want to hang out with other people who also don't have kids. Well, all in all, pretty uneventful morning. There's really nothing new going on over here. So I think we can move on to the next task at hand, which is I got to go get my uncle's backhoe and run it back over to the ranch to do some work with it over there. Well, I just got finished up with the backhoe, and the owner of the winter pasture called me and said that I have a calf that's in trouble. So we got over here to check him out, and yeah, this one's looking a lot worse than the last one that we had to come and look at. So if you'll notice, this guy, there's some labored breathing, laying down on his side, can't hold his head up. I was able to get him to stand up for a minute, but he wasn't able to stay on his feet. I'm not really sure what's going on here. I know that mother had a long labor delivering this calf. It took actually quite a bit longer than I thought. So I don't know if that's got something to do with it, if he was deprived of oxygen too long. The calf has been up on its feet. It wasn't born right here where it sits, but I don't really know what's happening with it. So I've got a couple of choices here. I can either just sort of let nature take its course. I can go bring a bottle to the calf, try to feed it out here. Maybe that will hopefully give it some energy. Or kind of what I'm leaning towards is I think I'm just going to take this thing home, because we've been getting pretty hard frosts here the last couple of nights, and I think even if I was able to get this guy to eat a little bit out here in the field, that if he has to go through a really cold night like that again, that that's just going to put us that far back behind if that doesn't do him in. So I think his best chance is for me to take him home, try to get a bottle in him, get him under some heat lamps, and we'll just kind of see what happens. To tell you the truth, I give this calf about a 1%, if that, chance of survival. I think we're too late on this one. I really don't think that I have a chance of saving this guy, but I have to try. I wouldn't feel right if I didn't at least try, so we're gonna throw everything we can at him, and if he doesn't make it, then at least we know we gave it our best. All right, let's go see what we can do. He's actually trying to pick his head up. I guess the motion or the vibration of the side-by-side's kind of probably not used to that. I got his attention. It's encouraging that he does have enough strength to pick his head up, but now I'm kind of like, well, geez, I hope he doesn't have enough strength to actually stand up, because if he stands up while we're going down the road, that might not be good. After getting this guy home, I was about to try to bottle feed him then, but he was starting to stretch out on his side, and he couldn't hold his head up. His eyes were rolled back and halfway closed, and the inside of his mouth was cold. All those things tell me that he's on his way out, so I didn't even bother, because I figured he'd be dead within minutes anyway. When I came back out to check on him, he's laying upright and his mouth is warm again, and when I set him down in here, he actually held his head up for a minute. So he might not be as far gone as I thought. I went ahead and mixed up a bottle. I still don't have a lot of hope for this guy, but I'm going to try to feed him something, and we'll put a heat lamp on him tonight and just see what happens. We're not done yet. I don't think you got very much, if any. We need to keep trying. Man. I have to say, I've never had one like this before. He's too weak to hold his head up, yet when you get the nipple in his mouth, he starts sucking. So we just need to keep trying to get it in him, and I don't know. Can I try one more time there, little one? I know. Just let's get this in you, and then you can sleep. What, these shavings? I don't know if that's the ticket here. Well, nothing about this is going according to the way it should be going. I'm not sure. I'm starting to think that this calf probably got stepped on or otherwise injured somehow, because I just keep trying to put all the pieces together here. The first part being that his birth took longer than expected. So that's number one. So there's a chance that he could have had some oxygen deprivation during that, and that could have led to like a weak calf syndrome scenario. But I know where he was born because I found him shortly thereafter, and where I found him today was a good 100 yards or maybe further away from that. So at some point he had the strength to get up and walk that far, and I just figure if he was able to stand up and walk that far, there's a really good chance that he would have tried to nurse. The other thing is that while I was riding him back here in the side-by-side, he pooped here in the back. Now, as old as he is, that to me suggests that he probably did get something to eat from mom. When I look at his stomach now, I mean, of course, we just got done bottle feeding him, but he doesn't look like a calf that's gone without. I mean, he looks pretty well, round and filled in around where his stomach would be. He's just not acting normal, but has a good suckle response. So I know a lot of you are going to say, you need to tube him, you need to tube him, and I don't think so in this case, because he is sucking and he is swallowing, and if I tube him, yeah, I can guarantee how much milk he's getting, but there are some risks associated with that as well. And as long as he's sucking and swallowing on his own, to me it's not worth it to try to tube him. He's still not really wanting to open his eyes, which is odd, because when we looked at him this morning, I'll have to go back and check the footage, but I'm pretty sure his eyes were open and he looked fine then. So it almost suggests to me that sometime between this afternoon and the time we looked at him this morning, if maybe he got stepped on or something like that, because at this point that's about the only thing that makes sense. So I'm gonna keep trying to nurse him back. I'm gonna bring a bottle out. I'll probably bring another one in a couple hours before I go to sleep, and then we'll get one first thing in the morning. In the meantime, I'm gonna get a heat lamp set up in here, or maybe 2 heat lamps, and aim them down on him. He's sitting on shavings, which ought to absorb some heat, and then this aluminum stock trailer, if the heat lamps are shining on that, I'm hoping that the heat kind of radiates off of that as well. I think the rest of it's going to be on him.